So the Sony ZV-E10 has been my main camera for God knows how long. Almost a year, maybe. I honestly have no clue, but it's something that kind of was perfect for what I was creating and what I'm still creating right now, and it works perfect. It does everything that it's supposed to do. But I'll tell you that whenever I heard the small little announcement that Sony is, announcing a new camera, my I need this new camera senses started tingling. And I guess we'll kind of get into that. So, not too long ago, I think less than a week ago, Sony announced that they are announcing a new camera on March 29th, which from today is 3 days. It's on Wednesday. I'm filming this on a Sunday and then uploading it on a Monday. Sony has been lately kind of focusing on vlogger stuff, like the Sony ZV-E10 and the Sony ZV-1 and 1F have been primarily focused towards like creators and vloggers. It's meant to be like a light camera that has a little of the features that you would expect from like the Sony a6400, the a6600, just kind of shaved off. So it brings you a little bit of extra weight reduction and price reduction in that. And yeah, the rumors have been spreading around with the fact that they're coming out with a new camera on the ZV line, and they're calling it the Sony ZV-E1, which, if we know from a lot of the naming scheme from Sony, it's going to be a full frame camera. And because of that, a lot of people are really excited about it and excited about what it could possibly like bring to the table, especially for like a low cost. I don't know. So I kind of wrote some little notes and on some of the rumors that I kind of scraped from the internet. So the sensor for this thing is going to be the same sensor as the A7S III, which is a 12 megapixel sensor. That thing has been probably one of the best for video sensors put out that's not actually a cinema camera that people have been using for years. I don't even know when it came out. Did it come out it came out like 5 years ago? Maybe. I might be incorrect. But yeah. So some of the features that they're actually putting into this are kind of crazy, actually. So it's going to be 4K 60, which is a good thing. That's kind of what you would expect from a full frame camera. But it's also going to have 4K 120 with no crop. That's not going to be put in until a later firmware update, from my understanding. It might be day one, but I don't know, because I don't have my hands on it, and I don't have my hands on the firmware. So Sony, if you want to, give me a chance, give this lowly YouTube creator a chance, I would love to look at the new camera. So from my understanding, this is all just, like I said, rumors that I've read on the internet, and these are not going to be 100% the final anything, actually. So another part of the rumors were there's no pixel binning, which, if you don't know what pixel binning is, it's a process that combines data from four pictures into one to get the best image. This one's pretty much just like taking, stacking, and then kind of figuring out how good the picture is going to be. So it's not going to have that. So it's going to be a completely raw image, which is a good thing, especially for people that are trying to use it as, something to film with, and because you want the raw image, you want to be able to get S-Log 3, S-Log 2, you want to be able to get all of the raw sensor data so where you're able to color grade it the best way that you want to. So I guess we're going to the next one. A 409,000 ISO. I don't know particularly why this would be important, because I am not that far in my filmmaking adventure to understand what benefit you would get from a higher ISO, because from my understanding, you want a lower ISO, or maybe it's like a 409K native ISO. I don't know, because I know native ISO compared to artificial ISO is going to basically give you the grain in the disgustingness that you kind of get from artificial light. Okay, so it's going to have the autofocus from the A7R, which is one of their newer cameras. And with this, they're kind of giving us that the really good autofocus but they're going to improve on the actual like object detection. So, I mean, with the Sony ZV-E10, you had the whole product mode where you're able to put like this right here and it focuses on that relatively smoother than it would if it was trying to detect a face, because face autofocus and auto detect is kind of a weird thing, and I'm not entirely sure how that works. But yeah, like I said, it's primarily directed towards people that are like vloggers, people that are going to be taking it out in the wild, people that are going to be using it to stick a camera in their own face and have people wonder why the fuck they're doing it. But yeah, it's going to be that, but on like a higher level, so like a prosumer level. Like this right here is more of a consumer level, which if you know the difference between consumer and prosumer, it's basically just higher end parts, higher end features, and a lot of cost. So let's see what's next. So now we're into the body. I'm just reading some notes and everything like that. So the body is going to be similar to the Sony ZV-E10. So I'm thinking they're probably going to leave out the EVF, which is the electronic viewfinder that you would find on like the Sony a6400, the Sony a7S. It's what you look into to see the image that you're going to be capturing through the lens. And the Sony ZV-E10 doesn't have that because it doesn't really need that, because it's meant to be a more video focused camera. And because of that, they shaved off a little bit of that and gave us like a little bit of price drop, you know? So like I said before, it's going to be kind of taken the body from like the A7C, the A7R, but it's going to have a little bit of the Sony FX3 features. Like, I don't know what they meant by that. Do they mean that it's going to have some like the mounting points? Is it going to have an active fan? Is it going to have a passive cooling solution? Because from what I'm reading online, right now it's kind of overheating, but that might be because maybe they have an active fan in there that's not ramping up to the correct speed to be able to cool down the chip. I don't know. I don't know. Because I don't have my hands on one, and I would love to get my hands on one. So this is the part where I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. So like right now the price is rumored to be slightly below 2,500, and I don't know if this is just like the body only, or if it's the body and a lens, like if it was like one of the nicer G Master lenses or something like that, like a full frame lens that would actually give you the ability to fully take advantage of the sensor that's in this thing. So personally, I think the price, I mean, again, depending on what some of the features are, I don't think it should be about 2,500, because right now you can probably get an A7S III for about the same price. Especially body only. You'd probably be able to find the A7S III body for like 1,500, like lightly scratched and used. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't really looked into it, but it's an older camera and it's an older sensor, so I would assume that you'd be able to grab the camera for a little bit cheaper. I personally think that body only, with all of the features that it's kind of detailing, like 1,000, maybe 1,200, especially if it's kind of taking after the Sony ZV-E10 and more or less taking away some features. I mean, they're not really relatively big features, but I feel like the ZV line is more or less the middle ground for creators and everything like that. Like, you can get the body for the Sony ZV-E10 for about maybe $700, maybe 800 if it's kind of like a price hike. And normally you'd be able to get the body only of the A6400 for closer to 1,000, which those have the same sensor. Same sensor, but they took things away from the Sony ZV-E10, or they took, yeah, the Sony ZV-E10 to more or less just give everybody a better price to performance, like value for whatever you're getting. Because again, it's an older sensor, so I mean, they're going to take some things away and they're going to make it a little bit cheaper. I personally think it'd be wiser to come out with a better price for what you're getting. But I mean, well, we also don't know for sure because it's all rumors. And well, I mean, we're going to know on Wednesday. We're going to know on the 29th, which is March 29th, 2023. If you're watching this in the future, you probably already know what it costs, and you probably are going to be like, "Hey, you were completely wrong, Bruce. You're completely wrong." I kind of wrote down some things that I wanted to ask before the announcement goes live, because I would like to know some of these things, especially if it ends up being a little cheaper than what it's being rumored to put out right now. Since it's full frame, is it going to have like a 10-bit? Is it going to have like 12-bit? Is it going to have 16-bit? I'm assuming since it's the same sensor as the A7S III, it's going to have 10-bit at least, because I don't see why they would kind of neuter the color on that, because it wouldn't make any sense to do that. So next is, like, what are the actual FX3 features that they're going to put into the camera? Is it are they going to just do some of like the mounting? Is it going to be the same kind of body? Are they going to include the fan that the FX3 has? Because honestly, that fan is kind of coming clutch for people that are doing a lot of film work. Because one thing we've noticed with the Sony cameras is they tend to overheat a lot, and because of that, it kind of becomes inconvenient for the people that are actually making anything with these cameras. So, I mean, that'd be kind of cool. It would also be cool. Yeah, no, I think those are really just like the big differentiators, are the body and the mounting. So another question is, like, why would you want to buy this over something like the A7S III if you can get it for relatively the same amount of money? Because it wouldn't really make sense. Like, this is coming out, this is going to have the same sensor, and if it's going to be the same price, it's like, are they kind of cannibalizing on their own market? But I personally think that it's going to be lower than people are expecting, because again, it doesn't make sense. So, and I guess, like, what are some of the, and because of that last question, like, what are some of the benefits that you're going to get over the A7S III with the Sony ZV-E1? Because like I said, same exact sensor, kind of different things. The stabilization and the autofocus are from a couple newer cameras, but are they pretty much just like taking parts from the cameras that they already have out and then kind of mismatching and Frankensteining them into something else to be able to sell? Which could possibly be a huge thing. What would you be able to get from this camera rather than going with another camera from another competitor? And it's just like, what's going to be the big appeal of going with the Sony ZV-E1 rather than going with something like the A7S III, maybe going with one of the Canon RF mount ones. I forgot what those are called, but like the R6 and the R other stuff. Like, what's the big advantages of going with this over some of those other cameras that have full frame sensors that make maybe a little bit more sense? So, like, is it going to be cheaper? I mean, I hope it is. But anyway, it's just kind of something I wanted to go over, something I wanted to talk about, especially before, the big announcement in a couple days. I personally think that the pricing is a little too high, if that's actually the pricing. Am I going to buy it? Probably, because it's a nicely priced, it's a full frame camera with a lot of really good features. But would I rather get that, or would I rather pay like an extra grand and get a full frame cinema camera like the FX3, which I can probably get an FX3 for, I don't know. I actually haven't looked it up. I think they're like 3,500 body only, which I probably just need the body. Or, yeah. But anyways, what are some of the things that you think they're going to do? What are some things that you agree with me? What are some things that you kind of differ with on me? And what are some of the things that you're hoping they put into this camera? And yeah, just let me know in the comments and everything like that. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, like, stuff. If you're having fun watching the video, subscribe. I upload videos every Monday. And on that note, I guess I will see you guys next week. Bye.